Okay, I've got a question. What do a gem-studded necklace, the FBI, and a criminal named Patty have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2024's The Christmas Charade. Or do you say charade?
Charade.
You say charade, charade, tomato, tomato. We've got a lot to talk about, Josh.
We do, Jennifer, and we will unwrap it all on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Well, you had better buckle up because we are in for some big adventure with this one. We will give you a full recap and break down our bottom line a bit later in our Gold or Coal segment, Jennifer.
That's right. So first, here's the plot summary. Whitney, a cautious librarian raised by home security experts, finds herself in a real-life adventure when a blind date mix-up leads her into an undercover FBI operation. Forced to pose as the girlfriend of Special Agent Josh, hey Josh, she helps him track down an art thief targeting the Heart of Christmas necklace at a Christmas Eve charity ball. Oh no, there's more. As the stakes rise, Whitney must embrace her inner action hero to save the day and her family just in time for Christmas. I need to drink some water after that. Gonna wet my whistle.
Seriously, let's go. Curtain up, and it is seriously like James Bond meets Hallmark Channel for a few moments here. We see a mysterious woman, headscarf and all, and she is carrying a mysterious red box. She slinks onto an elevator, ditches her outer garment, and encounters a tuxedo-wearing spy figure. He opens a Santa statuette that actually, on the bottom, holds a mysterious chip. The spy says, "Come with me." She faces a dramatic choice, and they're off. But it's all a movie within a movie. So we see our female lead. Her name is Whitney, and she is watching closely, ever intently, while she's wearing her snowman jammies and eating a bowl of cereal, because she's every one of us watching a Hallmark Channel movie, Jennifer.
Yeah, but she's watching this before 7:30 a.m. I don't watch that kind of movie that early in the day.
Well, that's...
I thought it was a nighttime thing. Her alarm goes off. She's like, oh, gotta go to work. Okay.
Exactly. She is off to work. She's got a job at an elementary school library, and it's story time. She's reading a book to these cute little kiddos, and her friend, who is getting married, immediately out of nowhere gives her a hard time about online dating and her lack of a relationship, and she also gives her a guy's email address, marklovescats1922@mymail.com, which I really want to send an email to that address just in the off chance that that exists somewhere.
You'll need security experts because you will get hacked.
Exactly.
Or you will be on the dark web or something. You email that email.
Anyway, Whitney is not so interested in Mark Loves Cats 1922, and she immediately throws away the email address when she finds it the next day. It turns out Whitney is all about safety. She is a super safe person, and it makes sense when we meet her parents, who run a security company. Dad, before giving his daughter a hug, be sure to check the deadbolt, and is not in the mood to try anything new, in spite of Whitney's persistent pleas, because we're right around the holidays. Whitney's got some ideas to mix it up with the schedule, and her parents are not having it. They are, however, interested in setting her up with a new beau, which has Whitney diving in the trash can to email Mark Loves Cats. And that's what I will refer to this man as the entire time. Mark Loves Cats.
Mark Loves Cats 1922, is that what it said?
Yep.
So how old is this man? I mean, I know, like, he's 98 years old.
98 years old. No. We see him a bit later on, and he looks, roughly our age, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. Did he only love cats that were born in 1922? Like, was that a premier cat year?
A cat breed year.
About the email address.
And they go unanswered. Anyway, we are at the FBI holiday party, presumably in some regional office, and our male lead, Josh, great name, that Josh, yeah. He's there, and he is not so holly and jolly. He is business, business, business. He says he doesn't do Christmas, and he doesn't do small talk. He is hot on the trail of a case involving a fancy gem-studded necklace called the Heart of Christmas. And his boss is super skeptical about his casework on this, but Josh thinks he has what it takes to blend in where typical cops can't. And not that I would have any intimate knowledge, I don't know, of, law enforcement investigations of this kind of caliber. But, I mean, he is sort of the quintessential, kind of secret squirrel law enforcement officer that you would expect. Just going to leave it at that. So there you go. Whitney is getting set for her hot date with Mark Loves Cats. Her friend thinks she looks a little bit too uptight in the blouse that she picked out, so she changes her outfit. And now, just to catch you up here, she has arranged to meet Mark Loves Cats, who says that he's going to be wearing a green sweater. Now, it turns out that Josh, again, FBI agent working this case about this necklace that might get stolen, that whole thing, he is at the same restaurant because he has to meet a fellow agent for an assignment. They're going to meet up with some folks that they suspect are trying to steal this necklace. And naturally, we're going to get a mix-up here, right? It's clear this is what's going to happen. And by the way, I write in my notes, Mark Loves Cats looks exactly like a Mark who would love cats.
He looked very nervous. I'm sure he's a lovely man, but he looks very anxious, as one would be on a blind date. He had a green sweater on. He was twiddling his thumbs. His palms were probably sweaty. His knees were probably weak.
I would say so, yeah. So Josh is at the restaurant. Whitney approaches, and he thinks that Whitney is an FBI special agent, but clearly she is not. And this blind date is officially a major bust because he's like, did you read the file? And she's like, what file? Because she's not an FBI agent, right? Exactly. But what are we going to do when the targets show up? So Whitney storms off. Josh finally discloses that he's FBI, like literally does the whole flashing of the badge thing. It was definitely overly dramatic. And somehow he's able to cajole her into pretending that she is, in fact, his girlfriend. It is an adventure at this point. And this quiet, safety-obsessed librarian did not sign up for this, but alas, here we go. Okay, so about 10, 15 minutes. What are you feeling? What are you thinking as this is getting underway, Jennifer?
That was a really strong start. I like they had some good banter. I mean, she's like, but Mark Loves Cats said he was going to have a green sweater. He's like, it's Christmas time. All guys are wearing green sweaters. Like, it's not really revolutionary.
No.
I like that. I like that the agent that was on her way to meet Josh at the restaurant actually, the leading lady passed her because she keeps getting like interrupted by all the carolers in the street. It's very frantic. I thought that was some funny comedy. So yeah, I was intrigued by this. Again, we have a different plot point, kind of a different premise than the typical Hallmark. I'm on board at this point.
So we're back from commercial break, and this double date is really awkward here. Whitney is freaking out and tries to gloss it over with some meaningless talk about shellfish allergies. She lies, and she says that she's a retired ballroom dancer when she's asked what she does for a living. But still, she's able to sign up to help the woman. Again, her name's Patty, with the big charity ball that is at the center of this case involving the fancy Heart of Christmas necklace. Now, so that basically means she's going to be posing as somebody she's not, with zero law enforcement experience to be doing an investigation or a thing of this nature. So here we go. And Josh's boss is not really as hesitant, I would think, as a law enforcement supervisor would be. He's all for it. Josh is not. And there we go.
This is a disaster waiting to happen. Why? In what universe would ever have been like, yeah, I think this will work. Let's do that.
Yeah, it wouldn't. But I mean, it's Hallmark. We suspend reality for a few minutes here. Yeah. So we're at Josh's apartment, which is incredibly swanky, I thought.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
The Bureau has sent over a rack of fashions for Whitney to keep her cover story going with these targets. We get a pseudo FBI training montage set to super spy music here. So there's talk of backstory, the missing artifacts connected to Josh's case, covert text messaging while your phone's in your pocket with your thumb, some basic self-defense. It's all led by Josh, who slowly starts to turn the corner about her ability to handle this whole bonkers scenario. She asks him about his lack of family, and he is not willing to go there at all. Secret
Tight
swirl
lipped.
to a T. Tight lip. Nope. He's like,
Not your
"Nah,
business.
not happening. Yeah.
Threw away the key a long time ago. No,
A
ma'am.
long time.
And he does not decorate for Christmas. Nary a decoration in that place.
Nary a decoration. Yeah. We're back from commercial, and Josh and Whitney are wheels up and on their mission at their target's house. Now, remember, she's there to help the missus. Her name's Patty, with the big charity shindig, and he's there. It's not quite clear why he's there, basically to spy on the husband in some sort of fashion, I think. Anyway, he thinks they're trying to steal the heart of Christmas again at this upcoming charity event. Whitney gets the missus to talk about why the heart of Christmas only comes out every so often. Josh goes sneaking around the house, winds up in a wine closet, and almost gets busted. So there you go. It was never really clear to me what Josh's part of this mission was supposed to be. Did you catch that, Jennifer?
I think just because they were presumably boyfriend and girlfriend, right? So she was
Yeah.
bringing her boyfriend with her.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know what he was doing. And anytime in these movies when somebody's lurking around somebody else's house, it makes me so uncomfortable that I get very anxious and I don't enjoy it. Like in Father of the Bride, Steve Martin was lurking around the future in-laws' house. Hated it. Still hate it to this day. Don't like it.
So it looks like they need a plan B, and they head off to the museum where the gala will be on Christmas Eve to try to get some inroads with the museum director ahead of time. Now, Whitney suggests, after admiring a painting that happens to be at the museum, that the museum director told her was actually a fake, to create a phony version of the Heart of Christmas and let it get stolen to catch someone in the act. The intrigue of it all, I was pretty impressed.
Seems like somebody who does this for a living should have thought of that first.
Right?
Or Whitney.
Yeah. Not an elementary school librarian kind of thing to think about, but here we go. Yeah. And it just so happens that Whitney has a jeweler in mind, right? Apparently so. And of course, this jeweler, as if on cue, is this kooky Mrs. Claus type and doesn't bat an eye when they show up with a picture of the Heart of Christmas and a mysterious chip that these two people want her to somehow tuck into it. She's like, sure, not a big deal. When doesn't ask any questions.
Doesn't she say, like, give me a couple hours and I'll be done with this?
So yeah,
This necklace, y'all, was very elaborate. Multiple stones of rubies and emeralds
Yeah.
and bling.
yeah,
I don't care how good of a jeweler you are. You can just whip this thing up in a couple hours.
apparently
It
so.
probably took the Scouting for Christmas people longer to build their mood board than this jeweler took with this necklace.
I would say so.
I've had to guess.
Whitney is just waiting around at the jeweler and happens to run into her friend, who is super curious why she ghosted Mark Loves Cats. Duh. Josh-
loves cats.
Yes, seriously.
You.
Josh happens to swoop in, however, on this interaction and immediately identifies himself as Whitney's boyfriend. What? Okay, here we go.
She's like, you couldn't have picked anything else? Nothing else. Had to go.
Nothing else. Had to be that. Yeah. Back at his place, Whitney tries to spruce up the place for the holiday, and he is less than jolly and says Christmas is just another day for him. Oof, yoinks. Sounds like some drama there. Yeah. Like someone clearly trying to avoid emotions around previous trauma, he dives headfirst into the work of the moment. And in this case, it is how to get into the museum vault to switch out the real Heart of Christmas with their Mrs. Claus fashioned phony. Just wait. This is capital B bonkers. What happens next? We're back from commercial, and it is officially spy time. Whitney is in the back alley here, and she's humming jingle bells to stay calm, as one does at the Christmas season, I suppose.
But she did a little improv with the lyrics. I thought that was funny.
Yeah. While Josh is trying to bust into the vault. Oops. Whitney's mom happens to call in the middle of this, and her folks have learned that Whitney has a boyfriend. They're trying to talk with her, and she's trying to keep one eye on the situation at the museum. It's just really, as I said, bonkers. She suggests they move up the family's traditional game night to the next night, and quickly ends the call. And it's a good thing she does, because alarms are going off at the museum. And she scampers to the noise. She's wearing a Fa-la-la-la llama sweater, by the way, which I thought was a nice touch. Yeah. And before we know it, she is crawling through the ducts of the museum with Josh to the area that happens to be right over this necklace. and he lowers her down into the room where distracted security guards start munching on some cookies that have just been delivered somehow. Yeah. And an alarm goes off again, so this plan is super mega bust. And as if that isn't bad enough, Whitney tells him he now has to go with her to family game night the next night. So let me pause. Jennifer, this scene may be one of the most bonkers things I've ever seen in a Hallmark movie.
It was a big swing. It was a big swing. They went full on Mission Impossible, lowering her down. Even the rope was red and white, like candy cane.
Like candy cane.
Yeah, like
exactly.
Walmart standard rope. They
No.
had whimsical Christmas rope. And yeah, it was a lot going on. It to the point where I had to rewind it because I was like, did I miss something?
Did I miss something?
Because we came back from a commercial break and they're on the stakeout or whatever. It was a little much for me. What did you think? You're into it?
I was sort of into it because I liked the adventure element of it all. It was just comedic because she is a fish out of water in this scenario, but she just went for it head first, and I kind of like that about her character. Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun to watch. I was curious to see just what would happen here, so I kind of bought it in that regard. Anyway, we're back. It's family game night. Josh is uptight in a reindeer sweater, which it's kind of hard to be uptight when you're wearing a reindeer sweater, but he's pulling it off. Yeah.
Corey Sevier, the guy that plays Josh, he's uptight in like every movie I've ever seen him in.
I know.
He is that guy.
He is that guy.
Mr. Curmudgeon and bah humbug to the max. And this is actually one of his softer roles, if I'm being honest. He's softened way quicker in this one than he usually does. He's like butter.
Seriously.
Yeah. The Christmas charade bit, this is my favorite part of the movie so far.
Yeah. Whitney is nervous, but still trying to get him to loosen up a little bit. She says he is radiating tension and he's never met a girlfriend's family before. Oof. So there's more at play than the whole I'm an FBI agent thing going on here. Mom is nice during the introduction. Dad is, however, skeptical of him. The game is Christmas Charades, which, as we've seen before, can be a lot of fun. Yeah. Dad knows Josh is doing Rudolph, but Dad lets him keep on going too long, and we all laugh. And then it starts slowing down. We get slow-mo Christmas charades happening. Music swells, and we can quite literally see Josh's stone-cold heart thawing just ever so slightly to the sentiment of the season. Dad says some nice things to Josh about Whitney feeling things and connecting early and deeply, and asks him tenderly not to hurt her. The game night ends and Mom and Dad are believing the chemistry, but they somehow know that something is suspicious here. I thought, like you said, this was a really great and tender scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked all of this. This worked for me.
Okay, so now it's time for the big mistletoe bowl. Josh is suited up in a tux, and Whitney looks like better than I've ever seen a Hallmark lead at this kind of event. Just, they went much slaying it.
Amazing fit, had the slit, red sequin.
Oh.
Perfect. She is gorgeous anyways. Even in the Fa La La Llama sweater, she was gorgeous, but this is the fashion, amazing.
Next level. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is clear they are both in their feels for each other at this point. And I like that we get a brief recap of their mission this late in the movie. They sort of talk through what they're doing, why they're doing it. I thought that was a really helpful thing to do to remind people what was going on here, because they're throwing a lot at you throughout this entire movie. Yeah. She unpacks, feeling excited by the adventure of it all, and we are officially off to the ball. And boy, when they strut into this place, they look like an absolute freaking power couple walking into this thing, I thought. And immediately, the bad guys are there, including Patty, the missus. She steps up to the podium at this big gala to open some delivering remarks. And now this is supposed to be when Josh and Whitney are going to get into position to make the good old switcheroo with the fake necklace that Mrs. Claus made a few scenes earlier. But
Just yourself. What are we doing? This is what we have dedicated our free time to do. The necklace that Mrs. Claus made earlier. I love it. This is what we're here for.
This is what we do. It's the integrity of the podcast. We're all in. We're all in. But there is a bit of a hiccup here when Whitney, yes, is wound up being put on the spot by Patty. Because remember earlier on, she lied and said she was a retired professional dancer. Well, Patty says, and ladies and gentlemen, here to dance a Christmas tango for you is Whitney, out of nowhere. Whitney presumably had no idea that Patty was going to do this. And somehow she and Josh are able to pull off a pretty fairly convincing tango that, dare I say, had a little bit of heat to it, maybe. I don't know. What'd you think?
It's a little spicy. Yeah.
A little spicy, yeah. They pull it off, but what? Her dad is there? Out of nowhere. Her dad's like, Whitney.
What's up?
Sup? Yeah. Yikes. Dad is clearly checking up on his daughter. They chat a little bit, but the lights go off. What? What is happening? They run over to the necklace and it is gone. Oh no. Good thing Whitney happens to spot a shady guy trying to scoot out of the room, and the chase is on. They are on foot, and they skedaddle up to the roof of the museum, decorated for reasons unknown to me, right? Like, why are there...
Hashtag Hallmark.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I wish this guy had just, like, been trying to go to the bathroom or something.
Right.
I thought he was...
But, yeah, they stop him. He's the bad guy. He's got a briefcase. They open the briefcase. There's nothing there. He's not the bad guy. They were duped. They hear tires squeal down on the street. They look over the side of the building and they see the museum director. What? Pop in the car with a silver briefcase. What? Two thugs are then shuffling Whitney's mom and dad as hostages. What are we doing? Into the back of a black van, and before you know it, what? Josh and Whitney are rappelling down the side of a building in formal wear? Like, jump first. Jump first.
Burn.
Yeah.
They must have endured. I cannot imagine.
Suddenly, Whitney is the most adventurous person out there for a librarian that you've ever seen. Jump first, think later, she says. And they make a soft landing on some inflatables that happen to be just outside this museum. I laughed.
That was funny. That made me laugh, yeah. Good use of the inflatable.
Good use of the inflatable. Somehow they stop the van, but what do you know? Mom and Dad have disarmed the hooligans who took them hostage because, dump, here we go. Mom and Dad were, in fact, former FBI agents. They recap how they knew what was going on. They apparently did some reconnaissance, called back to Quantico, I suppose, and did some digging on this whole thing. Yeah. And we get a play-by-play, and when I tell you, it was very much like, remember Murder, She Wrote back in the day? How Jessica Fletcher, she would give you the whole recap, and you would see this little vignette-by-vignette recap of what was happening. We get that, which I thought was kind of cool. Yeah. About how they switched.
It's so all over the place that they needed to do that.
Yeah.
Because I was paying attention. I was still like, huh?
So it turns out her mom and dad knew what they were up to, figured it out, and figured out that the fake necklace was in her purse while they were dancing the tango. And when the lights went out, they decided they would switch the necklace because they knew what was happening here. Whew. It's just a lot. Yeah. Whitney feels some sort of way about all of this, namely betrayed by her parents because of feeling...
You know somebody.
Yeah. You think you know someone. They were FBI. Ugh. Jeez. Anyway, Josh scoots off to try to talk some sense into her. She gets mean and says, "What do you know about family?" Oh,
yeah, that was unnecessary.
That was unnecessary. It was a burn. Oof. You know what they always say? Hurt people, hurt people.
That's true. And she was hurt in that moment.
There you go. Whitney is sadly sauntering through the museum. She sees the necklace stand. Of course, there's nothing on it because it's been swiped at this point. But wait. The painting behind it? Oh no, the Dahlia dance? It is gone. What? She passes that info along to the FBI, but time's a-ticking, so she decides she's going to go off to the bad guy's house herself to see Patty, who lets her in. And as one does at the end of a long night hosting a charity gala that gets busted, you know, the way it did, Patty is packing for Aruba and acting super sus. And before you know it, thugs are there. More hooligans show up, but thankfully, So is the good old Federal Bureau of Investigation, breaking down Patty's door and arresting every single bad guy within sight. Woo! Yikes. Now, finally, it is Christmas morning. Mom and Dad show up to Whitney's with presents and a heartfelt apology. It is tender and heartfelt, and before you know it, Josh is there too. She's wearing a red pea coat. Love that red pea coat.
Of course.
And she has a present for him. It's a snow globe to remind him of everything of this holiday season, and he gives her a reminder of this season too, the replica Heart of Christmas that Mrs. Claus made a bit earlier on. They decide to ditch the fake part of fake boyfriend-girlfriend and smooch, and then she makes everyone guffaw as we fade to black when she suggests she wants now to join the FBI as an agent.
It's time for gold or coal.
Okay, it is time for our gold or coal segment. We're each going to bring 3 gifts to the podcast. If there's more gold, it's a James Bond. If there's more coal, it's a James Bust. And if it's a tie, it's just a Merry Christmas. Josh, you go first.
Sure. I'm giving gold. I loved the concept here. I just thought this was a fresh way to do one of these stories. I liked the adventure element. There was so much for this couple to do. And that's often our complaint here, is that the couple just walks around and talks a lot, you know? And that wasn't this. Boy, this was one of these on overdrive. And I actually appreciated that they tried to do something different. And I think it worked. So gold for me.
I will give some coal. I did not buy their chemistry at all. I'm sorry. That they did something different. I will give Hallmark credit for that. But these people, they have nothing in common. They look beautiful together, though. I mean, they need to have some babies, but no foundation as far as, or no depth to their relationship. Coal is what I say.
I don't know that I agree with you on that. I think they absolutely have to. You immediately have depth with someone when you rappel off the side of a museum with them. What are you even talking about?
Coworkers can repel as well, I'm sure. I don't do that, but my job, but no.
Not with the kind of stakes that they had, Jennifer. The heart of Christmas was at stake here.
Okay, we'll get to that too. All right. Continue.
All right. I'm giving gold.
I could tell we weren't going to agree on this one.
Yes, of course not. No, that's okay. No, we don't.
It's been too long since we've had a scuttlebutt. So
There you go. Yeah. I'm giving gold for the leads here. Take it and leave it. Anyway, I thought Rachel Scarston and Corey Sevier, I thought they were good in these roles. He is not usually my favorite. Jennifer said, some things about that earlier, but I thought that this was exactly the right kind of role for his personality.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that he absolutely worked in this role. I think she was super believable as a librarian who wants to be more adventurous. And I thought it was great casting, and I really bought each of them in their respective roles.
Yeah, she's delightful. I saw her last year in Christmas Island. Delightful there. Love her. I'm going to give some more coal. I did not care about this necklace. Didn't know why anybody cared, really. Why do we care about the necklace? It's a necklace. I understand it's expensive. Well, we shouldn't be stealing things, but why should I care? It does not affect me at all. And then we got Mrs. Claus making the Bobo necklace. I needed the stakes to be higher. Like, somebody's life should be on the line for all this.
Her parents' lives were on the line for a minute.
Because they meddled and they got in the middle of it, okay? I'm sorry you became hostages. It's a risk you take sometimes. Meddle.
You became hostages. That sounds like victim blaming to me.
I mean, you shouldn't have got in the middle of it, okay? Let the people steal the jewelry sometimes. That's what, and if you work in retail, they say, don't chase after the thieves. Just let them go. Don't put your life at risk for this.
Nah.
My necklace? An ugly necklace with that.
I can already tell you're going to disagree about my next gift, but I'm going to say it anyway. The gold here, the twist with the parents at the end. I loved it. I
like that.
I liked that they were former FBI. We didn't get that till the very end, and it explained everything. And I think it gave our female lead a little bit of grace when she finally decided to extend it. for why her parents were so obsessed with safety the way they were and why they sort of fostered that, but still wanted more for her daughter once she sort of challenged them on that. So I liked that element, and I thought that they were great.
I don't need your tone right now. You have a tone saying a gold. Like, you can own your gold. Say, this is why I liked it. We don't always have to agree, and I don't.
No, we don't.
I
No,
did
we
like
don't.
the parent bit. That the parent bit made sense.
Good.
I will, for my last gift, give some gold. I liked the quippy dialogue. I did like the little banter back and forth when they had it. It wasn't enough chemistry for a relationship. I can have quippy dialogue with anybody. But yes, I liked their quippy dialogue. I thought it was fun.
All right. Sounds good. And rightfully so. We have a total of 4 gold, 2 gold. Jennifer, I was so worried that this was going to be meh at the end of the day because of your gift giving here. And I just don't think that this is a meh kind of movie. Don't.
Okay, to recap though, you gave it 3 gold.
Yes.
So this is a perfect movie to you. A perfect Christmas movie. Because
gave
if we
me-
can talk about, this is not a Christmas movie.
This gave me everything that I wanted. This gave me adventure.
It's not a
This gave me...
Christmas movie. It's not. It's just because you throw Christmas inflatables and candy cane rub doesn't make it a Christmas movie.
I'll give you that. I will agree to that. But
I liked Catch Me If You Claws 1,000 times. See, I'm knocking my hat off 1,000 times more than this in that vein,
okay.
personally.
All right.
Or Santa Stakeout was also very enjoyable. This let me down. I'm sorry. It didn't. The middle didn't work. I thought there was fire at the beginning, fire at the end. The middle was just follow whatever, you know?
Fall off the rails.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay,
4 to 2.
4
4 to 2. Yeah. So we still think it's worth your watch. At the end of the day, I thought it was a fun watch, a fun ride. I thought there was some good storytelling in here. As Jennifer indicated, maybe not a perfect. I will give you that. Maybe not a perfect.
You gave it 3 out of 3.
I gave it 3 out of 3, but we didn't give it.
You like it more than Holiday Crashers. You like it more than 'Twas the Date.
Yes.
This is your favorite movie of the season so far.
Thus far, yes.
Okay. You're entitled to your opinion. It's not my favorite. It's my
Understood.
favorite.
And that's why
But
there are.
I knew I would be in the minority because the internet blew up with this movie. They loved this movie. So it's a me problem. But I got to report what I see.
It's you. Hi, you're the problem. It's you.
It's me. I own it. That's fine. Send all hate mail to Josh at...
Do you watch what.com? Exactly.
And that, friends, is another heated episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Special thanks to Nick Schwartz, who is indeed both of our good friends. And of course, to all of you for taking the time to listen and watch as we just laugh our way through the holiday season.
That's right. If you like our podcast, please leave us a review. Those 5-star ratings mean a lot to us. You can hit subscribe on YouTube and your podcast network. Tell a friend, spread the word. I told somebody last week about our podcast. I was buying a Christmas sweatshirt. So you never know when it can come up in casual conversation. You can find everything you need to know about us at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. Stay tuned to the socials to figure out what we're watching and recapping next on the podcast. And no matter what, even if we don't agree, we will have much to discuss. But until then,
May your days, as always, be merry and bright. We will see you next time.